really delighted to bring you the first ever Private Equity in East Africa conference. The association has 4 key initiatives: advocacy, intelligence, training, and networking. I'd like to welcome our first guest, Ngalaah Chuphi from Ethos Private Equity, and Katrina Manson from the FT.
Thanks very much to Noni and to the association and to our guest today, Ngalaah Chuphi.
I work for a firm called Ethos Private Equity in South Africa. I've been doing that for a while. She mentioned 16 years. Ethos is mostly a buyout firm. We've been around for more than 30 years. We've done more than 100 deals. We've exited about 90 of those in cash, and there's a message there. So one of the key messages, marry for divorce.
We've seen more and more bigger funds coming into play for Africa, focused on Africa. Is $1 billion really the ceiling? Is that a sort of magic number, or can anyone break through?
If you make an investment in your current fund and you say take 75% of that investment, and then you grow it in 5 years' time where you actually double or triple the earnings and sell it at a very handsome price, if you raise a similar size fund in the next round, you can buy 75% of that same similar-like investment. To continue to stay in the same strategy and back the same caliber of management, your funds under management have to grow.
How tough was it? Because I know when you made that Nigeria investment, it was touted as, we're taking the bull by the horns, we're plowing out of South Africa, we're going into Nigeria, we can do this.
Right. And I think one lesson learned that I can share with regulated businesses, you got to be very mindful of regulated business, not because regulation is not good. I think regulation is good. But the behavior of regulators in certain markets is really unpredictable. But more importantly, when you make investment, that's only the start. It's really the support. And through the portfolio companies, we can bring technology, we can bring skill sets, we can bring all the kind of things that help the company grow, which is more what is needed rather than just capital. Capital, in some instances, is available here in East Africa as well.
What does that, I mean, obviously in Kenya the situation is very different. I mean, how mature is fundraising at the markets in East Africa, and what can East Africa glean from the South African experience?
I think the challenge is to convince the pension funds to actually invest in the asset class. Now that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time through education of the trustees and understanding the benefits of the alpha that private equity provides. One of the channels of access is also through the gatekeepers. So GPs in East Africa must also look broader than East Africa and broader than the DFIs. I think we have had our own successes from the East, not only the Near East, which is the Middle East, but from the Far East. There's strong interest in Africa that you need to tap into. Clearly, North America has always been a huge market and always is. There's one issue that came out of this conversation, and it's the issue around risk and whether private equity is more riskier than any other asset class. I think it's a misnomer when we think of private equity as a riskier asset class, because we invest in the same companies that you invest in the public markets. So in relation to where the money ends up, it ends up in backing a customer who is asking for a certain service or product. And now the only difference with private equity is we are active investors. We actually become the shareholders of record, and we actually work with management. We have a clear plan, and we stick to that plan. We provide the capital to execute on that plan. We bring skills when they're needed into the business.
As you look at how Ethos has evolved, how have you been able to balance experience with new ideas, having been around now yourself for 16 years with Ethos and the fund itself, or the company itself for 30 years?
I think as a firm, and as you're growing up, you have to have innovation at the key and follow industry trends that make you stay at the cutting edge of whatever you do. So it's important that you expose yourself to what others are doing. It's important, kind of gatherings like this are key, not only just here, but overseas as well. And then innovation around the product itself. So in the portfolio companies that you invest in, push them as well in what are you doing to make sure you stay and continue to stay relevant to your customer.
A great joy to have you. I think there are probably many more questions, so please do try and grab him. And we look forward to Fund 7.
Well, thank you, and thank you. It's nice to be home, and I'm looking forward to interacting with you and catching up.